Okay, so get this. Imagine prepping for the holidays, and all you gotta do is ask Siri to plan like the whole Christmas party.
Yeah.
Down to the playlist, even the guest list. Sounds a little futuristic, right?
Well, closer than you think.
That's right. Today, we are diving into something that could really change how you use your Apple devices.
Oh, yeah.
Apple integrating ChatGPT right into iOS, iPadOS, and macOS. We're basing this deep dive on a blog post all about a demo of these features, and believe me, you are going to want to hear this.
Yeah, what's interesting here is ChatGPT isn't like a separate app you have to download.
Oh, okay.
It's built right in.
So no more switching back and forth between apps. So what does that actually mean, though? Is it like Siri on steroids or something?
Kind of. Think of it this way. Apple and OpenAI, the creators of ChatGPT, they basically teamed up to like weave ChatGPT into how your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac think and work.
Okay. I'm intrigued, but I'm still a little fuzzy on like how this all works. Like, how would I even use this?
Well, it comes to life in a few key ways. Siri integration supercharged writing tools, and get this camera control powered by AI.
Hold on, the camera can use ChatGPT? What does that even look like?
We'll get to that. First, let's break down Siri and ChatGPT working together. So Siri's not just for setting timers anymore.
Okay.
It can recognize when you need like the extra brain power of ChatGPT and seamless handoff of the request.
So let's say I'm like totally overwhelmed trying to plan this holiday party. Can I just say, hey Siri, help me plan my Christmas party, and ChatGPT just magically takes over?
You got it. It's not just Siri trying to figure it out alone anymore.
Wait.
It brings in the big guns.
Now that you mention it, I have vaguely noticed Siri getting things right more often lately.
That's not a coincidence. Setting it up is actually super simple.
Mm.
You go into your Siri settings, enable Apple Intelligence, log into ChatGPT, and boom. From that point on, Siri's listening for those requests where ChatGPT can lend a hand.
Okay, and what about privacy? I know Apple's usually pretty tight on that.
They are, and they haven't dropped the ball. Siri will always ask your permission before sharing anything with ChatGPT.
Oh, good.
You're in control. You decide what it sees.
Okay, that's good to hear. So back to my Christmas party chaos. Let's say I give Siri the go-ahead to like share with ChatGPT. What happens next?
Well, what's really cool is it's not just a one-way command.
Okay.
ChatGPT will actually start asking you questions to fine-tune the plan. Like, how many guests are you thinking? What kind of vibe are you going for?
So it's like having a back and forth conversation.
Exactly. And you can ask follow-up questions through Siri, too.
Oh, okay.
Let's say ChatGPT suggests a formal cocktail party, but you're thinking something more casual like an ugly sweater party.
Right.
You just tell Siri to relay that and it adjusts the plan.
Wow. So ChatGPT is like really taking my input and creating something customized.
Right. It's drawing on its massive knowledge base, but tailoring it to your specific needs. We've even seen demos where it suggests guest list ideas, potential dates and times, food ideas, themed decorations, you name it.
Wow, the themed decorations part has me really curious. Okay, so Siri and ChatGPT are like a power couple now, but what about these other integration points? You mentioned like supercharged writing tools. What does that even mean?
So think about all the writing you do on your Apple devices. Emails, notes, documents, presentations. Now imagine ChatGPT being a part of every single app you use for writing.
Okay, that's a pretty big statement. So we're talking about the built-in apps like Notes and Mail, but also like any third-party app I might use.
Potentially, yes. This is still very new, so we're all discovering the possibilities as we go.
Right.
But the core idea is that ChatGPT can make you a better and faster writer.
That's the heart of it.
Yeah, imagine summarizing a long, dense document in seconds, or generating a first draft of a presentation based on just like a few bullet points.
That sounds like a dream, especially for someone like me who deals with a lot of long-winded reports and emails.
Exactly. It's all about taking those tedious tasks and making them faster, easier.
And it's all happening within the apps you already use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, but how does it actually work, though? Is there like some complicated setup involved?
Yes. Not at all. Apple's designed this to be super intuitive. Let's say you're writing an email in the Mail app. A little ChatGPT icon will pop up in your toolbar. You click that, and you have options. You can rephrase a sentence to sound more professional, or even generate an entire paragraph based on what you've already written.
So it's like having a really smart writing assistant built right in.
It really is. And it goes way beyond just email. Think about tackling a research paper, for example.
Yeah.
You could feed a bunch of articles to ChatGPT, and it could summarize the key findings for you.
Oh, wow. That reminds me of all those times I've been up late, wading through mountains of research for work. What about those massive PDF reports that everyone dreads?
You could literally send that entire PDF to ChatGPT and ask it specific questions about the content.
Really?
No more skimming through hundreds of pages trying to find that one crucial piece of information.
It's like having a research assistant at your fingertips. This is blowing my mind. But you mentioned something even crazier earlier, camera control with ChatGPT.
Oh, yeah.
How does that even work?
So this is where the iPhone 16's integration gets especially wild. We're talking about visual intelligence now.
So does ChatGPT literally see through my camera?
It's not about ChatGPT seeing in the traditional sense. It's more about connecting what your camera sees to the massive amount of information ChatGPT has access to.
Okay, that sounds a little abstract. Give me a real-world example.
Imagine you're on vacation, let's say in Rome, and you're standing in front of the Colosseum. You point your iPhone's camera at it, and you can ask Siri, "Hey Siri, tell me about this," and ChatGPT will know what you're looking at.
Even though I didn't actually say Colosseum.
That's the idea. It's using visual cues from the camera to understand the context of your request and then give you information on the spot.
So no more frantically Googling big round thing in Rome while I'm trying to soak in the sights. What if I wanted to use this for something educational with my kids?
You could imagine pointing your phone at a plant in your backyard,
Yeah.
and ChatGPT could identify it and even give you interesting facts about it. Talk about interactive learning.
All right, this is a lot to take in. We've got Siri integration writing tools and now visual intelligence. I'm starting to see why people are calling this a game changer. Is there anything else we should know about how this all works?
Yeah, one thing that really stands out is that Apple didn't just slap ChatGPT onto their devices as an afterthought.
So it's not just a third-party add-on?
Nope. It seems like they worked really closely with OpenAI to deeply integrate ChatGPT into the fabric of their operating system.
That makes sense. They're known for creating a really seamless user experience, and it seems like they've focused on the areas people use the most, Siri writing and the camera.
Right. It's not just about flashy tech demos. They've made AI accessible and useful in everyday life.
It's like they're saying, here's some seriously powerful AI, use it to make your life easier.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
But before we get too carried away with all the cool features, let's talk about how this actually affects your daily life. How does it make things easier?
Yeah, let's get practical here.
Well, we've already touched on a few examples, like ChatGPT summarizing documents or answering your questions about complex reports. Think about all the time you could save.
That alone is a game changer for anyone who has to deal with information overload on like a daily basis.
Exactly. It's not just about time management, though.
Right.
It's also about improving the quality of your work.
So I'm imagining it's kind of like having an editor on call 24/7.
You got it.
Yeah.
Let's say you're writing a report. ChatGPT can help you refine your arguments and make your writing more concise and impactful.
That could definitely boost my confidence in like the work I'm putting out there. So it's about working smarter, not harder, right?
Exactly. This integration has the potential to help you not just do things faster, but also do them better.
That's a really compelling argument for giving it a try. I can already feel my to-do list getting shorter.
What?
But before we wrap up part one of this deep dive, we need to talk about the elephant in the room. Privacy. That's a crucial point. And to Apple's credit, they seem to have taken it seriously. You already mentioned Siri asking for your permission before sharing anything with ChatGPT.
Mm-hmm.
And I know Apple has always been big on giving users control over their data.
That's one of their core values, and it seems to be reflected here as well. From what we understand, ChatGPT only accesses the information you specifically choose to share.
So it's not like ChatGPT is constantly listening and waiting to pounce on my personal info.
It doesn't appear that way.
Yeah.
This is about using AI as a helpful tool, not turning it into some kind of big brother.
That definitely puts my mind at ease. So we've covered a lot of ground here. Siri integration, writing superpowers, visual intelligence. This is definitely a lot to digest.
It is, and we've really only scratched the surface. But as you can see, this is much more than just a bunch of new features. It's a fundamental shift in how we think about our devices.
It's like they're becoming more like partners
Yeah.
that help us think, create, and learn in ways we never thought possible. Is this one of those moments where we look back and say, that's when everything changed?
I think it might be. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. Okay. The key takeaway here is that AI is no longer some far-off concept. It's here, it's now, and it's ready to become part of your everyday life.
And Apple has made it surprisingly easy to access and use. They've taken this powerful technology and made it fit seamlessly into the way you already use your devices.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it so exciting. It's not about learning some whole new system. It's about taking the things you already do and making them easier, faster, more powerful.
It's about enhancing your abilities, not replacing them. This has been an incredible deep dive so far, but I feel like we've only just begun to explore the possibilities.
We have, but we'll have to save the rest for part 2.
Join us then as we continue this deep dive and explore some of the questions that come with a technology this powerful.
Sounds good. Welcome back to our deep dive into Apple's ChatGPT integration.
I'm still processing all the amazing things we talked about in part 1, AI, helping with everything from like writing emails to planning parties. I'm ready to sign up.
It's exciting stuff. I'm curious, what stood out to you the most from what we've discussed so far?
Honestly, it's the potential to like save time and mental energy. I spend so much of my day just sifting through information and trying to get things organized.
Right.
The idea that ChatGPT could help with that is a huge relief.
I hear you. It's definitely appealing. But like with any new technology, I think it's important to approach it with a healthy dose of caution as well.
Okay, so let's get real here. What are some of the potential downsides? What could go wrong?
Well, one thing that comes to mind is the possibility of over-reliance. If we start using AI for everything, what happens to our own skills and abilities?
You mean becoming so dependent on AI that we basically forget how to think for ourselves?
Exactly. It's like using a calculator for every math problem. Eventually, you might forget how to do basic arithmetic, or relying on GPS so much that you can't navigate without it.
That's a great point. I can definitely see how that could happen. It's so tempting to just let AI handle everything, especially when it seems to do it so well.
The key is to find a balance. To use AI to enhance our abilities, not replace them entirely.
Right.
It's about being mindful and intentional about how and when we use these tools.
So it's not about saying no to AI altogether, but rather being smart about how we integrate it into our lives.
Think of it as a partnership. We bring our human skills to the table. Creativity, critical thinking, empathy, and AI brings its strength, speed efficiency, access to vast information.
That makes a lot of sense. We need to be careful not to outsource our thinking entirely to these tools. What about the potential impact on jobs? I know a lot of people are worried about AI taking over their jobs.
That's a valid concern. As AI becomes more sophisticated, it's going to change the nature of work as we know it. Some tasks will inevitably become automated.
But isn't that kind of the way things have always been with technological advancements? Cars replace horse-drawn carriages, computers replace typewriters.
You're absolutely right. Throughout history, technology has disrupted industries and created new ones. The question isn't whether AI will change things, but how we adapt to those changes.
So what does that look like? How can we prepare for this AI-powered future?
I think one key is to focus on developing the skills that are uniquely human and hard to automate. Things like complex problem-solving, creative thinking, emotional intelligence, communication skills.
Those are the skills that will set us apart from machines even as they become more capable.
Exactly. It's not about competing with AI, but figuring out how to collaborate with it.
Yeah.
And that will require us to be lifelong learners, constantly adapting and upgrading our skills.
So it's not just about what we learn in school, but also about being open to new challenges and new ways of thinking throughout our careers.
Absolutely. Adaptability and a willingness to learn are going to be essential in an AI-powered world.
So we've talked about over-reliance and the impact on jobs. What about some of the other potential pitfalls? Are there any risks we should be aware of?
Another thing to consider is the potential for misuse. Any tool could be used for good or for bad, and AI is no exception.
So you're saying even with the best intentions, there's always the possibility that someone could use this technology for malicious purposes.
That's a possibility we can't ignore. Think about things like spreading misinformation, creating deepfakes, or using AI to manipulate people.
It's kind of like the classic comic book dilemma. Amazing superpowers that could be used to help people or to do harm.
That's a good analogy. And this is where the conversation around ethics becomes incredibly important. We need to think about the potential consequences of this technology and how we can safeguard against misuse.
So is it a matter of putting restrictions on who has access to these tools, or is that too much like censorship?
It's a tough balance to strike. On the one hand, we want to encourage innovation and allow people to benefit from these advancements. But on the other hand, we need to find ways to prevent harmful applications.
It sounds like this goes beyond just the tech itself. It's also about the social and ethical framework we build around it.
You hit the nail on the head. Technology is never neutral. It's shaped by the people who create it and the ways in which it's used.
And as users, we have a responsibility to be aware of these issues and to use these tools responsibly.
Exactly. We need to be critical thinkers, asking questions, considering the potential consequences of our actions, and engaging in conversations about the ethical implications of AI.
So it's not just about blindly embracing every shiny new tech gadget that comes along, but rather being informed and thoughtful about the choices we make.
That's a really important point. We have a role to play in shaping how this technology evolves and how it impacts our world.
Okay, this is getting me thinking on a whole other level. We've covered over-reliance, job displacement, and the potential for misuse. Is there anything else we need to be thinking about?
Well, there's also the question of bias products. AI systems are trained on massive data sets of information, and those data sets can reflect existing biases in society.
So you're saying even though AI might seem objective and neutral, it can actually perpetuate the same biases that exist in the real world.
That's a risk we need to be aware of. For example, if an AI system is trained on data that mostly reflects the experiences of men, it might not be as accurate or effective for women. Or if it's trained on data that primarily comes from one culture, it might not be as inclusive of other cultures.
That's a really important point. It's like that saying garbage in, garbage out. If you feed an AI system biased data, you're going to get biased results.
Exactly. It's crucial that the people developing these systems are mindful of these potential biases and that they work to create AI that is fair, equitable, and inclusive for everyone.
So it's not enough to just create AI that's powerful and efficient. It also needs to be AI that's ethical and responsible.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
We need to be thinking about not just what AI can do, but what it should do.
This conversation has been eye-opening. I'm starting to see that this is about so much more than just the cool features and conveniences of AI. It's about the impact on society, the ethical questions, the future of work. It's a lot to consider.
It is, and it's a conversation we need to keep having. The future isn't predetermined, it's something we create. And as we continue to develop AI, we need to do it thoughtfully and responsibly, making sure it benefits all of humanity.
This is definitely some food for thought. So what should our listeners be thinking about as they start to use these new AI-powered features on their Apple devices?
I think the key is to approach this technology with both excitement and caution. Embrace the possibilities, but be aware of the potential downsides.
Use these tools to enhance your life, but don't let them take over. Be mindful of the ethical implications and, most importantly, stay engaged in the conversation.
Yes, absolutely. This technology is going to shape our world in profound ways, and we all have a role to play in making sure it's a positive force.
This is a lot to unpack, but I feel like we've only scratched the surface. There's so much more to explore.
You're right. We've covered some of the potential downsides and ethical considerations, but there's also a lot of excitement and optimism around this technology.
That's what we're going to dive into in part 3 of this deep dive. We'll shift gears and explore some of the amazing things this technology could enable in the future. Welcome back to the final part of our deep dive into Apple's ChatGPT integration. We've covered a lot of ground from like the nuts and bolts of how this tech works to some of the potential downsides we need to be thinking about. It's a lot of process.
It is.
And it can feel a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
It definitely makes you think. But I think it's important to remember that technology itself isn't like inherently good or bad. It's all about how we choose to use it.
Exactly. And that's what I find so fascinating about this whole conversation. We have a real opportunity to shape the future of AI, to make sure it's used in a way that benefits everyone.
So let's shift gears and talk about those benefits. We've explored the what ifs and the what could go wrongs, but what about the what could go rights? What are some of the areas where this technology has the potential to make a truly positive impact?
Well, one area that immediately comes to mind is education. Imagine a world where every student has access to a personalized AI tutor that adapts to their individual learning style and pace.
That's a game changer, especially for students who might struggle in a traditional classroom setting.
Exactly. AI could help identify areas where a student is struggling and provide tailored support. It could also challenge advanced students with more complex material, keeping everyone engaged and learning at their own level.
It's like having a personal tutor who's available 24/7, always ready to answer your questions and guide you through the material.
That's the idea. And think about the potential for students with disabilities. AI could provide real-time transcription, translation, or even visual aids, making education accessible to everyone regardless of their abilities.
It's about breaking down barriers and creating a more inclusive learning environment for all students. I can see this being incredibly transformative.
And it's not just about students. AI could also be a powerful tool for teachers, helping them with lesson planning, grading, and providing personalized feedback to their students.
It could free up teachers' time so they can focus on what they do best, inspiring and mentoring their students.
Exactly. It's about empowering both teachers and students with the tools they need to succeed. So beyond education, another area with immense potential is healthcare.
That's a field where the stakes are incredibly high,
Yeah,
but also a field where AI could make a real difference in people's lives.
absolutely. For example, AI could be used to analyze medical images like X-rays and MRIs, helping doctors detect diseases earlier and more accurately.
Early detection is so crucial, especially for things like cancer. It
Yeah.
can literally mean the difference between life and death.
You're absolutely right. And AI could also play a role in drug discovery, helping researchers develop new treatments and cures for diseases.
It's amazing to think that AI could be part of finding cures for diseases that have plagued humanity for centuries.
It's a really exciting possibility. And it's not just about finding new treatments. AI can also help personalize medicine tailoring treatments to an individual's genetic makeup and lifestyle.
So it's moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach to something much more targeted and effective.
Exactly. And that could lead to better outcomes for patients, fewer side effects, and a more efficient healthcare system overall.
That's a future I can definitely get behind. We've talked about education and healthcare, but what about some of the other areas where AI could have a positive impact? I know there's a lot of buzz around AI and creativity.
That's a really interesting area. Some people might think it's counterintuitive to think of AI as being creative, but it's already being used in fields like music composition, art generation, and even writing.
I've seen some of the AI-generated artwork online. It can be pretty mind-blowing.
It is, and it's only going to get more sophisticated. Now, I don't think AI is going to replace human artists anytime soon,
Right.
but it can be a powerful tool for inspiration, exploration, and collaboration.
So instead of AI versus artists, it's more about AI as a partner in the creative process.
Exactly. Imagine a musician using AI to generate new melodies, or a writer using AI to brainstorm plot ideas. It's about expanding creative possibilities and pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
That's really cool. It's like having a creative brainstorming partner who can help you generate ideas and explore new directions.
It's about augmenting human creativity, not replacing it. And I think that applies to all the fields we've discussed today.
It's about using AI to help us achieve things that wouldn't be possible without it.
Exactly. It's about freeing us from tedious tasks so we can focus on the things that truly matter, the things that require our unique human skills, creativity, empathy, critical thinking.
Those are the skills that will become even more valuable in an AI-powered world. So, as we wrap up this deep dive, what's the one message you want to leave our listener with today?
I think it's this. The future is not something that happens to us. It's something we create. We have the power to shape the way AI is developed and used, and we have a responsibility to ensure that it's used for good.
It's not about fearing the future. It's about embracing it with open eyes and a critical mind. It's about using this technology to create a world that's more equitable, sustainable, and fulfilling for everyone.
Well said. And on that note, we'll leave you to ponder the possibilities.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dives. We'll
All
see
right.
you next time.